Fierce, enormous, and long gone. When you hear those three words together, what's the first thing that pops into your mind? Most likely, it's a dinosaur, maybe a Tyrannosaurus rex or some massive sauropod. But if I tell you to forget dinosaurs for a moment, your imagination might jump to giant pterosaurs, mosasaurs, crocodiles, megalodon, or even prehistoric ice age behemoths. The point is, when it comes to ancient giants, there are a handful that dominate our collective imagination, which is why films and documentaries tend to feature that same few over and over. Yet, in the shadows of these famous figures, there exist colossal creatures that history has largely ignored, eclipsed by the popular stars. And honestly, I think these overlooked giants deserve some recognition. A closer look at the fossil record reveals a host of enormous animals that most people have never even heard of. And I'm not talking about members of already famous gigantic groups. I mean truly obscure monsters. Take, for instance, the specimen, now referred to as the Beast of Lutu. If this name rings a bell, your paleo knowledge is impressive, but hang around anyway. So, what exactly is the Beast of Lutu? Simply put, it's an amphibian unlike any other. For hundreds of millions of years, stretching from the Carboniferous to the Cretaceous, amphibians were largely dominated by a single order, the Temnospondyli. This group thrived globally, coming in every conceivable size and shape, from minuscule species to titanic predators. In many ways, they were as diverse as placental mammals today. Within this order, several families stood out, one of which was the Brachiopodae. Emerging during the late Permian, they remained successful through the Jurassic, varying in size and location but consistently carnivorous. They likely hunted much like modern crocodiles, opportunistic and limited only by their size. For a long time, scientists assumed brachiopods were modest in scale, but that changed when a massive jaw fragment was discovered in South Africa. This single piece of a jaw shifted our understanding entirely. While it hasn't been confirmed whether it belonged to a known genus or a completely new one, it was undoubtedly a brachiopod. Comparing it to its relatives, researchers estimate the beast of Lutu may have reached around 7 meters, or 23 feet in length. For context, today's largest amphibian, the Chinese giant salamander, barely hits 1.8 meters, or 5.6 feet, less than a third of the beast of Lutu's length. But it wasn't just long. This creature was massively built, with a jaw capable of potentially swallowing prey the size of a human whole, and a body weight in the multiple-ton range. Fossils suggest it inhabited the waterways of the Elliott Formation during the early Jurassic, preying on animals coming to drink, including theropods, smaller sauropodomorphs, and ornithischians. Remarkably, it might have been the apex predator of the entire formation, dwarfing the dinosaurs in size. That said, the jaw fragment is incomplete, so its full dimensions remain uncertain. Even if size estimates shift, it still represents a remarkable example of an overlooked giant. Other obscure giant amphibians exist as well. Prionosuchus from Permian Brazil may have rivaled the Beast of Lutu in length, though it had a leaner build. Mastodonsaurus, with its alligator-like head, lived in Triassic Europe, exceeding 6 meters or 20 feet, and had a powerful, robust frame. Fossil evidence even suggests cannibalistic behavior in these 2-ton predators. Next time a documentary aims to terrify audiences, consider featuring a giant amphibian there. As impressive as they are fearsome, equally fascinating are prehistoric giants that resemble dinosaurs but aren't. One such creature is Shuvosaurus. Although some paleontologists might recognize it, it remains relatively unknown to the general public. Astonishingly, it was the largest bipedal animal that wasn't a dinosaur, belonging to the Papasauroid group, a branch of advanced pseudosuchians. Shuvosaurus lived during the Triassic, a time when these archosaurs were widespread. Some Papasauroids sported sails, others were robust quadrupeds, and a few, like Shuvosaurus, walked on 2 legs. This genus, specifically within the Shuvosauridae, was the largest of its family and among the largest non-dinosaurian animals ever. Specimens suggest it could reach up to 10 meters, or 33 feet, longer than a fully grown Allosaurus. Despite looking like a theropod, It was actually a toothless herbivore, feeding on trees and plants, coexisting with early dinosaurs in the Esquitwalasto Formation of Argentina. Its carnivorous relatives, like Ephygia, could also grow to massive sizes, with some of the largest fully terrestrial predators outside dinosaurs, possibly surpassing it. One even appeared in the Hollywood film 65. Though the movie's timeline is not historically accurate, it depicts events millions of years later than when Shuvosaurus actually lived. Another Triassic giant worth noting is the obscure marine predator Noasaurus. Part of the Nothosaur lineage, it lived across the world's oceans, and resembled plesiosaurs in body plan, with long necks and streamlined forms, typically preying on fish with needle-like teeth. Although usually smaller, recent discoveries from China and Europe suggest some individuals, like Noasaurus giganteus, reached 7 meters, or 23 feet, with more robust builds, indicating they weren't strictly limited to fish in their diet. Unlike their plesiosaur lookalikes, these semi-aquatic predators could also venture onto beaches, making them formidable in shallow waters. The Triassic period, overall, seems to hide numerous giants from both land and sea. One terrestrial powerhouse, almost forgotten, is Lisowicia. Its discovery is relatively recent, officially described in 2019, though its bones were unearthed as early as 2006 in Poland near the village of Lisowice, initially mistaken for a large sauropodomorph. Over 1,000 additional bones, including skull fragments, revealed a new dicynodont species. Lisowicia was massive, hips over 2.6 meters, 8.5 feet tall, a body length exceeding 4.5 meters, 15 feet, and a weight approaching 9 tons, comparable to modern elephants and heavier than some famous dinosaurs like Stegosaurus. Despite its bulk, it was herbivorous, feeding on soft plants and conifers, though its thick, armored body meant it could dish out serious damage if provoked. Interestingly, fossil evidence shows it was preyed upon by another giant, Smok-Wolski, a 6-meter, 20-foot predator from late Triassic Europe, highlighting that even massive animals had threats. Shifting to mammals, the Brontosauridae, often overlooked, were enormous, rhino-like creatures actually more closely related to horses. They thrived in warm, forested areas across Europe, North America, and Asia for over 20 million years during the Eocene. Among them, Megasaurus was once thought to be the largest, standing 2.5 meters, 8.2 feet, at the shoulder and over 15 feet long, with distinctive double horns that likely deterred predators. But there may have been an even bigger species, Embolotherium, which lived slightly earlier in Eocene Mongolia. A massive skull discovered in the 1970s, over 1.2 meters, 4 feet long, suggested individuals weighing up to 9 tons and standing tall, enough that you'd have to look up to see its face. Its single, hollow horn might have served for sound resonance rather than combat, with sheer size providing the best defense. Carnivorous mammals also hide some impressive giants. Modern walruses are large, but extinct species like Pontolis magnus took it to another level, living around 12 million years ago during the Miocene. Along the western coast of North America, these pinnipeds could exceed 4 meters, 13 feet, in length and weigh up to 4 tons. Unlike contemporary walruses, Pontolis lacked tusks but had massive skulls with powerful teeth for hunting seals, birds, and even juvenile megalodons. Despite their size, they were likely agile swimmers, capable of bursts faster than Michael Phelps' top speed. Freshwater ecosystems, too, hosted colossal predators. The carboniferous lobe-finned fish Rhizodus was enormous, reaching 7 meters, 23 feet, and weighing up to 1.5 tons, likely preying on large fish and early tetrapods. Its fawn-like teeth were larger than A. T. erectus, and its powerful frontal fins suggest it could lunge at prey near riverbanks like a crocodile. Later, during the Cretaceous, the coelacanth-like Mawsonia inhabited freshwater and brackish rivers across South America, North America, and Africa. While not as long as Rhizodus, it was thicker and heavier, potentially topping 2 tons. Its diet likely included hard-shelled prey, but some speculated could suck in almost anything like a Goliath grouper, making it a formidable freshwater predator. In conclusion, while we tend to focus on a handful of famous prehistoric giants, countless other enormous creatures roamed the Earth's land, rivers, and oceans. These forgotten behemoths, from amphibians to mammals and marine predators, remind us that history's giants were more diverse and awe-inspiring than popular media often portrays. And if this exploration captures enough interest, there's certainly room for a part 2. Thanks for watching. And stay tuned for more from Extinsu.